Tonight on NewsWatch, crisis in Ukraine. The deadline has passed for pro-Russian protesters to leave government buildings. What happens next? Plus, hate crime in the heartland. What led to a deadly shooting at a Jewish community center? And how Christian golfers are working to bring God glory at the most prestigious course in America. All this and much more tonight on NewsWatch. Good evening, everyone. I'm Wendy Griffith. The crisis in Ukraine continues to escalate. Pro-Russian mobs seized government buildings and shut down several major highways in the eastern part of that country. Now they're refusing to leave, and Russia is warning Ukraine against taking any action against them. Caitlin Burke has more in our top story.
Ukraine is teetering on the brink. Armed mobs defied a government order Monday to turn over all occupied buildings. The deadline passing with no consequences. Ukrainian officials say they'd rather find a political solution, but protesters took the opportunity to take over yet another building, this time a Ukrainian police station. They're calling for freedom from the Ukrainian government and closer ties with Russia.
We demand to have a people's regional head of the Internal Affairs Administration. This is our only demand, for that person to support the people. All the heads of regional administrations have switched to the side of the people and refuse to recognize the government in Kiev.
Both Ukraine and the United States blame Russia for the escalating unrest in eastern Ukraine, destabilizing the region as an excuse to send in troops to protect the local Russian-speaking population.
We know who is behind this. Indeed, the only entity in the area capable of these coordinated professional military actions is Russia.
Russia denies responsibility, but warns Ukraine against taking any military action on the protesters. Satellite images show almost 40,000 Russian troops on the border with Ukraine. Caitlin Burke, CBN News.
For more on the situation in Ukraine, we turn now to Daniel Kochis of the Heritage Foundation. Daniel, is Ukraine heading towards a civil war?
I don't think that we're seeing it heading towards a civil war. What you're seeing is this sort of Russian agitation. So you're actually having Russian special forces that are in these sort of green, unmarked camouflage outfits who are going into eastern Ukraine and causing trouble. Or you're just having sort of pro-Russian thugs or even just thugs who see it as an opportunity. There was a report from Russian media earlier today that, from Ukrainian media earlier today, that the Russians are actually paying some of these thugs in the cities. And so you have to remember, even in Crimea, where there's quite a large ethnic Russian population, they actually voted in 1991 to leave the Soviet Union, and 54% of Crimeans voted to leave. And so I think in the areas of eastern Ukraine, where there's actually less Russian, ethnic Russian population, you're not sort of seeing this split. What you are seeing is sort of Russia's calculations to try to control the government in Kiev and impose their will on the rest of Ukraine without actually having to go in militarily to the rest of it.
Well, Dan, as the violence keeps escalating, is the U.S. or the European Union likely to send military help?
Well, it's a good question. I don't see that happening. The U.S. Actually sent some ready-to-eat meals, so the meals that you would eat on the battlefield, but they neglected to send anything else, any sort of defensive equipment. And actually, they decided that flying these meals in on a transport plane would be too provocative. So they sent them in via commercial truck. So I find it hard to believe that the U.S. is going to be doing anything more after that episode, and I find it even less likely that the European Union will be doing anything militarily.
Well, one fear of this unrest is that Russia may use it as an excuse to invade other regions of Ukraine. Do you think that's their goal?
Well, their goal is to control, I think, Ukraine. And so what they're trying to do now is this sort of asymmetrical warfare. And so that's either tripling the price of gas over a 2-day period. It's sort of this agitation like we talked before with thugs and sort of Russian special forces. These are all ways to try to intimidate the government in Ukraine. And you actually had the prime minister today say that he was open to this idea of potentially having a referendum in certain areas of other parts of Ukraine to potentially be sort of autonomous. And so this is what their plan is. I don't think you can necessarily rule out them rolling into the rest of Ukraine with sort of military force. But if they can achieve their aims through through this sort of asymmetrical warfare, that's how they're going to do it.
All right, Dan Kochis with the Heritage Foundation, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
Here at home, a renewed concern over anti-Semitism in America. That after a man killed 3 people Sunday at a Jewish community center in Kansas on the eve of the Jewish Passover. George Thomas has that story.
Authorities say the suspect is a 73-year-old man seen in this video captured by a local television crew as he was being handcuffed. His name is Glenn Miller and reportedly has a history of racist and anti-Semitic activity. He was heard shouting Heil Hitler moments after being put in the back of the police car.
Heil Hitler! The initial call came into our dispatch center at 1:03 p.m.
The chaos began Sunday afternoon in a suburb of Kansas City when Miller opened fire in the parking lot of this Jewish community center.
It was really scary. I mean, people are calling their loved ones, and I called my mom and she started crying, and then I started crying.
2 people were killed at the scene.
Several shots were fired at that location, and witnesses stated that the suspect left the location soon after.
His next target, a Jewish retirement home a couple of blocks down. Police say he was carrying a shotgun and handgun. 1 person was killed at the scene.
Today is a tragic shooting of 3 people that marks a sad day in the city of Overland Park.
Sunday's attack comes as anti-Semitic incidents have actually been on the decline here in the United States, although they've been rising in other parts of the world, especially in Europe. The Southern Poverty Law Center, which tracks hate groups, says Miller is a white supremacist and a former Grand Dragon of the KKK. He reportedly posted more than 12,000 times on the Vanguard News Network, whose slogan is "No Jews, just right." The Jewish Passover begins today, and authorities say it is too early to say whether the shootings were hate crimes.
Obviously, at 2 Jewish facilities, one might make that assumption, but we're going to have to know more about it before we'll label it.
President Obama called the shootings heartbreaking as prayer services were held in local churches to mourn the victims. George Thomas, CBN News.
Ohio must recognize the marriages of gay couples from other states. That was the ruling today from a federal judge. Judge Timothy Black called Ohio's voter-approved marriage recognition bans unconstitutional and unenforceable. His ruling doesn't mean the state can perform gay marriages, just that it must recognize licenses from states where same-sex weddings are legally performed. Even so, the Ohio Attorney General plans to appeal today's decision. Attorney generals from 19 states are asking the U.S. Supreme Court to save a 4-story cross memorial honoring veterans in San Diego. They've asked the High Court to rule the 60-year-old memorial atop Mount Soledad is not a violation of the First Amendment. The American Civil Liberties Union and Jewish war veterans sued to remove the 43-foot structure. A judge ruled in their favor back in December. The AGs hope the Supreme Court will decide differently and create a precedent for lower courts to follow in the future. Today, more than 100 Christian leaders from different backgrounds and different states gathered at the White House to celebrate the resurrection of Jesus Christ. White House correspondent Jennifer Wishon was there.
An Easter celebration at the most famous home in the world.
I think it's amazing that the most powerful nation on the planet, in probably the most important building, politically speaking, in the entire world, that we're having a moment where we are not only acknowledging but celebrating the resurrection of Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior.
It's a tradition started by President Obama 4 years ago, but this year it began with an acknowledgement of death as the president honored 3 victims of that deadly shooting at a Jewish center and retirement home in Kansas, a crime committed on the eve of Passover.
And we have to keep coming together across faiths to combat the ignorance and intolerance, including anti-Semitism, that can lead to hatred and to violence. So, this Easter week, of course, we recognize that there's a lot of pain and a lot of sin and a lot of tragedy in this world, but we're also overwhelmed by the grace of an awesome God.
The president's remarks centered around his recent meeting with Pope Francis at the Vatican and included a reading given to him by the Pope.
Christ's resurrection, he writes, is not an event of the past. It contains a vital power which has permeated this world. And he adds, Jesus did not rise in vain. May we never remain on the sidelines of this march of living hope.
Christianity in America, unfortunately, is known for, especially Bible-believing evangelical or Orthodox Christianity, for what people oppose. And that's a shame, because Christianity is more about love and grace and salvation and redemption, and that's the message coming out of the Vatican now through the Pope, one that the President just affirmed at this Easter prayer breakfast.
Still, the president says, as a rule, he tries not to preach to preachers.
Lord, fill my mouth with worthwhile stuff and nudge me when I've said enough.
Jennifer Wishon, CBN News, the White House.
More than 70 people are dead after an explosion at a busy bus station in the capital of Nigeria. The attack came as hundreds of people were traveling to work. The blast destroyed more than 30 vehicles and led to secondary explosions. There's no claim of responsibility yet, but bus stations have been a favorite target of Islamic terrorists in Nigeria, like the extremist group Boko Haram, even though it has not claimed responsibility for this attack. Government and rebel forces are blaming each other for an alleged chemical strike in central Syria. The apparent chlorine gas attack reportedly injured dozens Friday. Videos posted online show victims, including children, gasping for air. Experts say the symptoms displayed are consistent with a chemical attack. The situation has renewed fears of chemical weapons in Syria, fears the Obama administration is working to relieve.
Well, I'm not going to get ahead of the president, but the president has made very clear how alarming he finds chemical weapons use, how outrageous he found it. That's why he put the credible threat of military force on the table. That's why we've been able to destroy and remove more than half of Syria's chemical weapons up to this point. But certainly the point of what we've done so far is to prevent further use.
The U.S. ambassador to the United Nations says the U.S. is investigating the situation and considering an appropriate response. Coming up, a look at what goes into making the traditional Passover dish, matzah, and its spiritual significance for both Jews and Christians.
I have a son who's extremely smart and sensitive. He went to heaven. I came back.
One true story has become a worldwide sensation.
You saw heaven? It's beautiful.
This Wednesday, Heaven is for Real is a profoundly beautiful movie.
They don't believe me, do they?
Some people might be afraid to believe.
That will help many to believe.
Is heaven a hope or as real as the earth and sky?
A perfect family film. Heaven is for Real. Rated PG.
I was having some pains between my shoulder blades. At that point, everything changed. Diagnosis, pancreatic cancer. First, there was prayer. The second is to fight. As soon as we walked through those doors at Cancer Treatment Centers of America, all my anxiety left. The pastoral care here is based on the Bible, based on the Word of God, just as it is at our own church.
When you combine the great medicine with the spiritual resources we have, it provides the patients with something that really can make a difference.
You got a pastor right there on staff praying with patients, and whether it be scripture or whether it just be a word of encouragement to say, God's got this.
If you or someone you love is fighting complex or advanced stage cancer, go to cancercenter.com/faith. You'll learn how our treatment results compare to national averages and see a list of insurance plans with which we've worked. Advanced medicine and technology, the warm embrace of the spirit.
I firmly believe God led me here.
Call or go to cancercenter.com. Cancer Treatment Centers of America. Care that never quits. Appointments available now.
I have a son who's extremely smart and sensitive. He went to heaven. I came back.
One true story has become a worldwide sensation.
You saw heaven? It's beautiful.
This Wednesday, Heaven is for Real is a profoundly beautiful movie.
They don't believe me, do they?
Some people might be afraid to believe.
That will help many to believe.
Is heaven a hope or as real as the earth and sky?
A perfect family film. Heaven is for Real. Rated PG.
Every year, Jewish people around the world celebrate the Exodus from Egypt with a Passover Seder. One of the feast's key elements is unleavened bread known as matzah. Our Middle East Bureau Chief Chris Mitchell takes a look at how they make the traditional dish and explains its symbolism.
The Bible calls it the bread of affliction, unleavened bread or matzah. Every year, the Jewish people are commanded to retell the story of their exodus from Egypt and to eat unleavened bread for 7 days.
Because the Lord made them live very fast, they had to make bread that didn't have time to rise.
and they ate this flatbread, which is matzah.
Most Israelis take the commandment to eat unleavened bread very seriously, and many actually like it. Grocery stores like this one devote whole sections to it. And besides regular matzah, you can get egg, whole wheat, and even choco matzah.
The regular matzah must be made of flour and water only. The flour would look to you like regular flour, but it's not regular flour.
Roy Wolf is vice president of Matzot Aviv. He told CBN News the whole process, from mixing to rolling to shaping to baking, must be finished in 18 minutes, because the moment water touches the flour, it starts rising.
In reality, our process is much faster. We want to be as efficient as possible, and the whole process takes no longer than 3-4 minutes. But every 15 minutes, in order to avoid to have any leftovers of leavened dough, we have to clean the mixer system.
Wolf is the 6th generation to work in his family's business, which started in 1887. They've been in the current factory since 1946.
In the basements here where we have the flour silos today, the Haganah, the first defense forces, used to hide the weapons from the British mandate. Since 1946 we've been here making matzah. Of course, the factory was refurbished several times.
At Matzot Aviv, they make about 20 tons of matzah per day. They start in October and work around the clock for the last month, except on the Sabbath, to provide matzah to Jewish communities in Israel and around the world.
We are exporting to over 35 countries, to all Jewish communities around the world. From the large communities in North America to even the smallest community. There's one person that's in Wallis Island. He's the doctor of the island, and we are sending him matzah every year. And so he will be able to have a Seder with matzah from Israel. But we also have Christian communities buying matzah in countries like Korea and Singapore, where I've been told that in some churches it's been used as the holy bread.
The Last Supper would have been a Passover Seder with unleavened bread. Because of that, many Christians like to take communion with matzah. Some even say that the design of the matzah, striped and pierced, is symbolic of the Messiah himself. You might think with all this matzah making that the Wolf family would get tired of Passover, but not so.
We're waiting for this Seder. We usually come very tired to the Seder because I'm working until the same day in the afternoon. But it means a lot. This holiday, of course, means a lot to us.
One Israeli compared matzah to a data drive, passing along information from generation to generation. Chris Mitchell, CBN News.
Up next, how golfers are using the Masters to spread the gospel.
Hello? Is this thing on? Hey, kids, do you love games? And do you love discovering things? Well, do ya?
Then you're gonna love this. It's the new free Superbook Kids Bible app. You can play games, watch videos, find answers to your questions, and a whole lot more. The new Superbook Kids Bible app. Free downloads available on iTunes and Google Play now.
This is a national healthcare alert from the Health Hotline. If you, a family member, or a loved one suffers from knee pain and have Medicare as your primary insurance, we've got great news. You could qualify for a pain-relieving knee brace at little or no cost to you. Get free delivery, and all the paperwork is handled by our accredited suppliers at no charge to you. If you're on Medicare and have knee pain, don't wait. You may qualify to immediately receive a pain-relieving brace at little or no cost. Friendly agents are standing by 24/7 to help you. Call the Health Hotline right now for details toll-free. Our friendly representatives are standing by now to take your call. We also have other pain-relieving braces available for shoulder, ankle, and your back. You may be eligible to receive these items and more at little or no cost to you as well. Call right now for details toll-free.
Operators are standing by. Call 855-740-8143. That's 855-740-8143. Again, 855-740-8143. That's 855-740-8143.
announcing an important breakthrough in healthcare that can benefit everyone. If you or anyone you love needs affordable health insurance, regardless of a pre-existing medical condition, call Quick Insurance 123 today and get the immediate relief you deserve. Quick Insurance 123 was created to provide affordable health insurance to all uninsured Americans, with or without pre-existing conditions. This is not a discount card. This is a real insurance program that lets you choose from many affordable health plans, with access to doctors, hospitals, emergency services, and more. So call the number on your screen now and get the health coverage you need, just for calling. As a special bonus, we'll send you a free prescription savings card that could save you up to 85% on your prescriptions. That's right, you could save up to 85% on your prescriptions just for calling. Call Quick Insurance 123 to find out how you can get affordable health insurance and receive your free prescription savings card just for calling. Don't wait. Getting a free quote is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Call today.
Welcome back. Pro golfer Bubba Watson won his second Masters title in 3 years Sunday. The 33-year-old is an outspoken Christian and often uses his Twitter account to share about his faith in Jesus. Watson told the Billy Graham organization that people always ask him what makes him different. He says, quote, "For me, it's just showing the light. There's people who want to put down Christians. I try to tell them Jesus loves you." Good for him. And Watson isn't the only golfer working to spread the gospel. As Paul Strand explains in tonight's Focus Report, Christian golfers in Augusta, Georgia are spreading the truth at the home of the Masters tournament.
David Cook wrote a bestseller about a fictional golfer meeting God that led to the movie 7 Days in Utopia. Now the book, Golf's Sacred Journey, has helped kick off a movement of Christians using its message to help real-life golfers encounter Christ. A staggering number have written to a Cook website to tell him about their conversions.
I have asked Jesus to become the Lord of my life. 10,000. We had 69 last month, 129 the month before, and this is 2 years after the movie.
Much of this has come about because Christian golfers have realized just what a good evangelistic tool is Golf's Sacred Journey, now joined by its sequel, Johnny's U.S. Open.
Jim Seacrest of Augusta, Georgia, has given out about 500 books. He orders them 100 at a time and says others are doing the same.
People were buying the books 10, giving them away, buying them 100 and giving them away.
80,000 of the first 100,000 books went out in packs of 10, and that's what we call the Johnny Project.
Johnny is the golf guru in Cook's books, who not only revolutionizes golfers' play, but points them to eternity. So who exactly buys these bundles of books?
It's a guy that says, I want to be a Johnny. I want to make a difference in other people's life.
And it's not just guys. Augusta's Madeline Turner figures she's given away 50 so far.
I've got 2 in my bag. I've got 2 in my car. And when I start running low, I get the shakes. It's like...
Turner's friend Tom Sorrells has passed out about 40. He doesn't present the book as religious or Christian, but as something very helpful.
This little light book may show you how to find rhythm and balance in your life.
Pastor David McKinley pushed golfers in his church to go even further and start an actual golf ministry, since they were less than 2 miles from Augusta National, home of the Masters.
It is a place that is known around the world, and so I realized we had an international platform in Augusta.
Seacrest agreed to head up the new ministry, Warren Golf Augusta. His friend David Cook insisted they use that last word.
He said, Augusta is the name that will draw people to you from all over the world. One day, because of Warren Goff, Augusta will be known for the master versus the masters.
And this group has made itself the home and heart of the Johnny Project, that spontaneous movement that began using Cook's books to reach the lost on the links.
What a wonderful way to share the love of Christ and to be able to change somebody's life.
Carson McDaniel saw this power up close in the life of Tracy, a friend he'd been praying for a long time.
And I just have a tremendous respect for this guy in my life because he was my mentor and he got me in the brokerage business.
Then one day they were golfing in Oklahoma.
We were on the 3rd green and Tracy came to me and said, Carson, he said, I need to tell you something. And I said, what's that? And he said, I gave my life to the Lord. And on a 100-degree day in Oklahoma, it really gave me chills.
Tracy told McDaniel it was because of Golf's Sacred Journey, and McDaniel became a Johnny Project all by himself.
I ended up ordering probably 150 or 200 books.
Johnny Project groups are now starting to form around the country, and Warren Golf Augusta recently held a national retreat featuring Cook to see about ways to step all this up a notch. Because they all realize many golfers will never go into a church to find God, so Christians need to take God out to the golf courses.
It really is a very relaxed opportunity to have natural conversation with people and for long periods of time.
What better way to find out where a man is or a woman is in their life, and are they having any trials and tribulations?
You know, you feel His presence. It's such a peaceful, quiet environment.
So you can share your life, you can share your testimony, you can build a relationship.
Ecclesiastes says that God has planted eternity in the heart of every man.
Many just need someone, like maybe a fellow golfer, to show them how to reach it. Paul Strand, CBN News, Augusta.
Up next, why the Midwest may be the place to see the world's greatest biblical artifacts.
This is a national healthcare alert from the Health Hotline. If you, a family member, or a loved one suffers from knee pain and have Medicare as your primary insurance, we've got great news. You could qualify for a pain-relieving knee brace at little or no cost to you. Get free delivery, and all the paperwork is handled by our accredited suppliers at no charge to you. If you're on Medicare and have knee pain, don't wait. You may qualify to immediately receive a pain-relieving brace at little or no cost. Friendly agents are standing by 24/7 to help you. Call the Health Hotline right now for details toll-free. Our friendly representatives are standing by now to take your call. We also have other pain-relieving braces available for shoulder, ankle, and your back. You may be eligible to receive these items and more at little or no cost to you as well. Call right now for details toll-free.
Operators are standing by. Call 855-740-8143. That's 855-740-8143. Again, 855-740-8143. That's 855-740-8143.
Announcing an important breakthrough in healthcare that can benefit everyone. If you or anyone you love needs affordable health insurance, regardless of a pre-existing medical condition, call Quick Insurance 123 today and get the immediate relief you deserve. Quick Insurance 123 was created to provide affordable health insurance to all uninsured Americans, with or without pre-existing conditions. This is not a discount card. This is a real insurance program that lets you choose from many affordable health plans, with access to doctors, hospitals, emergency services, and more. So call the number on your screen now and get the health coverage you need, just for calling. As a special bonus, we'll send you a free prescription savings card that could save you up to 85% on your prescriptions. That's right, you could save up to 85% on your prescriptions just for calling. Call Quick Insurance 123 to find out how you can get affordable health insurance and receive your free prescription savings card just for calling. Don't wait. Getting a free quote is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Call today.
Well, you might think to see rare biblical artifacts, you have to head all the way to the Middle East, but why not the Midwest, as in Missouri? Well, just in time for Holy Week, the Passages Museum in Springfield is unveiling a new exhibit called Treasures of the Bible. It houses some of the world's rarest biblical texts and artifacts.
When you walk in, one of the first items that you're going to see is a 3000 BC piece in cuneiform. If you would want to see the items that we have on display, for the papyri, you really would have to go to Egypt, and for the Dead Sea Scrolls to Israel. And if you're interested in Latin Bibles, the good address would be the Vatican, or you could just go to Springfield, Missouri. So this is unbelievable that you could put this together in this space. You know, so many things that are dedicated to the Bible that are very hard to get to. I would wish for is a deeper appreciation of how many people have worked on keeping that Bible alive.
And that's it for us. Have a good night, everybody. Bye-bye.